Hey everyone, my name is Dan Johnson, back with another demo to show you on the Protegrity Developer Edition. And today we're actually going to show you how to protect, unprotect, encrypt, and unencrypt your data. All right, so before we were able to show you how you can actually find and redact it, but now we're going to get a little more usefulness out of our data by being able to protect it and unprotect it. All right, so again, just for a quick review, we're going to hover over developers here, click the Protegrity Developer Edition link, and go right to the GitHub. Again, we're going to be following our main Python Protegrity Developer Edition page, but we do have a Protegrity Developer Python SDK installed in our first video. And we cut this, go here, this one. All right, so when we land on our main repository page again, we can just scroll down. We've already gone through all of this. We're going to go right to our samples. And in our sample applications, again, we've already showed you the discover. We've already showed you the find and redact. So let's actually go down and do the find and protect. All right, so here's our find and protect. But as you can see, before we need to do that, we actually need to go ahead and actually get our API keys so that we can find and protect, right? So let's open this link in a new tab. It's actually going to be the same repository, just further down. And then we'll open this link in a new tab, which is going to take us to our API key registration. We're going to accept those, and we'll just fill this out. Engineer, Protegrity, USA, and we are in Connecticut. All right, so what's going to happen here is this is going to save. It's going to send me an email on the back end with my password as well as my API key. So while that's loading, let's go ahead and look at the next instructions here. All right, we've already filled out the basic details. Now we actually need to set our environment variables. So feel free to use your .env file if you want, but we're just going to export these in our terminal for now. So I'm just going to paste it in there. I'm going to backspace this one, right? We need to enter our email used, which was my email, dan.johnson@protegrity.com. All right, so we've set that one, and we'll do our password again. You didn't set a password in that API registration, but it will be in your email. So I'm going to grab that from my email really quick. All right, so we'll paste our password there. And then we'll do the same thing with our API key, which again is going to come in that email after registration. So we just clear out the placeholder and copy from our email and paste it in there. All right, so now we have our three environmental variables set. So now we're able to actually start finding and protecting and unprotecting. So let's go ahead and go back to our samples where we were before, and then let's actually do the first sample. But again, let's show you what that real data is just so we can have a little refresher here. So we're gonna list the sample data, input text, right? So again, just a bunch of PII, one singular text string with name, social security, location, age, phone number, etc. So let's actually find and protect it. All right. So as you can see here, it's going to be very similar to the find and redact, but we're going to take it one step further, and we're actually going to tokenize our data instead of just redacting it, right? So before, if you remember, we actually just showed the city in brackets, but now we're actually tokenizing it and we're adding an end tag, right? So it's a little bit more flexible, and then we're actually able now to unprotect it using the unprotect command. All right, so let's show that now. And as you can see, now we're looping through, finding those strings and unprotecting them. And as you can see, now we've gone from the original text to tokenized text and then right back to the original text. All right, so this is pretty cool, but one additional step would be we want to actually be able to apply this to a permissioning schema, right? We want our super users to be able to unencrypt the data, but we don't want anybody else to do that. So in order to do that, let's keep scrolling down some of these examples here. And we'll do a couple of one-liners. All right, let's clear this out. Let's copy this and we'll review it in the terminal. All right, so what we're doing here is we're actually protecting this data. Let me clear unit up a little bit. So again, we're running just a sample app, but we're sending input data, right? John Smith, which is going to be a name. And then we're giving the policy as super user, right? So we expect that super user to be able to do anything, right? Via protect or unprotect. And then we're just sending the name again, and then we're setting our flag to protect it, right? So let's just run that and see what happens. It's going to be very similar to the previous example where we're just tokenizing our data. All right, so that's great. And then let's see how we can actually unprotect it. Let's see what the difference in commands are. Again, you can see we're running a sample app, but this time we actually need to send our protected data. So we're going to delete the placeholder and we'll copy our protected data. All right, and again, we're the super user, and this time we're setting a flag at the end to actually unprotect, right? So what we're expecting here is this tokenized data will turn back into the original John Smith, and that will happen because I'm the super user. I have the right permissions for that. I'm perfect, works no problem. But let's see what happens if we try to do it with a standard user. Right, so all we did was replace it. Now that standard user has no capabilities to see the raw data behind it. And we're able to now use this data across departments and really apply a better permissioning schema. And you know that's our general protection, but we can also do encryption, right? So let's scroll down a little bit more and show what that looks like. All right, we'll clear it now and go over the encryption. So again, very similar. We're doing the exact same commands. The only difference here at the end is instead of protecting or unprotecting, we're going to be encrypting, decrypting. Right, so let's go ahead and run this. Again, John Smith. So in this version, we can see, right, it's not tokenized, but instead we have it encrypted. So let's see if we can unencrypt it and what that would look like. So again, exact same command. The only thing we're doing is changing the flag there. And since we're a super user, we should expect to see the unencrypted data without any issues. Oh. We forgot to add our encrypted data. So we actually have to do that. Remember to clear your placeholder and add your actual encrypted data. And there we go, John Smith, just like that. And then let's see what would happen again if we try to unencrypt that data as a non-super user or some sort of different role. Standard role, let's just go with standard. All right, and again, we have no access to that data, so all we're stuck with is the encrypted data. All right, so this is a great way that we can level up the Protegrity Developer Edition one more step and actually use it to serve different pieces of data in different formats within our organization. All right, and if you need a little more help understanding what these flags are and how these commands work and how you can use them, feel free to run this help command here. I'll just clear this out. And you can see we give you a good understanding of what all these flags do, right? As we talked about earlier, we are protecting, unprotecting, encrypting, decrypting, right? We're sending sample data, et cetera. So feel free to read through this as you need. And in our next video, we'll actually show you how you can use semantic guardrails as an additional layer on top to actually help you protect your AI ML workflows. All right, thank you.